today I just wanted to kind of go through some of my thoughts and just kind of update you all on just stuff about me. So, with that being said, I realized that I have never done a get to know me video. And I've been on YouTube for a little bit of time now. And I know most of you guys know me from Facebook, but I just felt like I wanted to do this. Like if I'm gonna be, you know, posting my videos and things like that, I want people to know who I am. Just kind of like know me. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. So what I did was I asked a couple of people on Facebook and Twitter. I don't think I posed a question on Instagram, but just asking you guys, what do you want to know about me? For the most part, I am pretty much an open book. There's not anything that I've done that I'm embarrassed about or ashamed to talk about. So that's a little helpful when it comes down to this topic. So I have some of the questions here in front of me that y'all asked on Twitter, and then I have some that was asked on Facebook. I need to just straighten up my brow for a second. So the first thing was, where am I from? I am originally from Dallas, Texas. I've lived in Dallas my whole life. I went to 3 different high schools. So I went to James Madison High School, I went to South Oak Cliff High School, and then I went to David W. Carter High School. Yeah, I know that's like a lot of jumping, but my freshman year, I went to South Oak Cliff. My sophomore year, I went to James Madison. My junior year, I went to Carter. And then my senior year, I finished up at Madison. I don't know. I did a lot of jumping around in high school mostly because we moved. And my mom was very okay with allowing us to go to the school of our choice. So that's kind of how the jumping around came about. Another person asked me if I am married, and the answer to that is yes, I am married. I have been married now for 4 years. My husband and I do not share any kids together, but collectively we have 5 total. He has two girls, and I have 2 boys and a girl. And so their age range is from 17 to 7, with my son being the oldest and then my daughter being the baby. Let's see. Somebody else asked me, how tall am I? So I am 5'3" on a normal day. If you make me mad, then I'm 6'4". Okay. But I'm 5'3". My weight, my weight is, I'm about like 128 to 1. I range between like 125 and 130, typically. I'm trying to get to like 135, but for whatever reason, my body has been stalled at like 128, 129, 130. So, let's see. I am, excuse me, I am the oldest girl of 5. So I have brothers and sisters. Um, I'm the middle child, so I'm the third kid. Let's see. Oh yeah, I did tell you guys I have 3 kids myself. I have a 17-year-old, if you can believe that, a 14-year-old, and a 7-year-old. Still live in Dallas. I don't know. I guess if I could live anywhere else outside of Dallas, it would probably be Georgia, or I don't know, somewhere close to a beach. So like Florida, maybe even Virginia, something like that. Let's see. Somebody asked me, let me say, when did I know makeup was my passion? Ooh, good question. So a little bit of backstory on me is I kind of fell into makeup on accident, I guess. Accident kind of on purpose. But I was in an abusive relationship from the time I was 15 till I was 28. And I honestly was using makeup as a cover for like when I would get bruises or black eyes or whatnot. So initially, I got into makeup for like all of the wrong reasons, because that's never a reason to get into makeup. But the reason it kind of stuck with me is because I know, like, as a little girl, I've always loved the whole fashion industry, just everything beauty. I've always loved it since I can remember as a child. So it kind of just stuck with me. And instead of using it as like a cover, I don't know what's going on with my throat right now, you guys. I'm so sorry. But I just felt like instead of using it as a cover, I was going to use it to enhance what I felt like my natural beauty was. And it wasn't so much just like facial features for me or anything physical. It was just the fact that I feel like before the whole abusive relationship, I was this bright, bubbly person. Like, my outlook on life was totally different than what it was in that relationship. And I just wanted to get back to that person. And if not that person, then a better version of her. So I kind of found makeup that way, and I had to turn it from something that it was associated with something negative to associated with something positive, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's kind of how I knew. I always knew since I was a little girl that, I don't know, I was just really big on fashion. And it's crazy to me because my mom isn't, and neither is my sister. And I don't mean like, isn't like, oh, they don't keep themselves up, but I never really saw my mom get into like the whole makeup thing as a child. She was always very just naturally pretty, very beautiful, my sister included, but my mom was just never like into the whole makeup thing. She always just, her natural skin was just beautiful. So I don't know. I think maybe just like looking at magazines, like I used to look at a lot of Elle magazines when I was little, a lot of Vogue, I don't know, GQ, just a bunch of stuff, Jet, Essence, Ebony, whatever came to the house is pretty much what, I don't know what I'm doing with these arms, y'all. I'm like, my ADHD or something kicking in. I don't know. But whatever came to the house, I was always like, just had my head in a magazine. So originally, I am an independent insurance adjuster. My specialty is catastrophe. and I kind of stumbled into that career path. I used to work for an insurance company as a processor, and I was doing really well, had been there quite some time. And one of the supervisors asked me one day, was like, you do really well. Have you ever thought about becoming an adjuster? And at the time, I had no idea what an adjuster was. So when they even phrased that question to me, I was just kind of like, what? Like, what's an adjuster? And then when I found out about it, I was like really excited and really intrigued, and I wanted to know more. But I did start letting people kind of talk me out of it. Like I was told that the test was really hard. You got to be like a super whiz at math to kind of pass this thing, blah, blah, blah. And for me in school, math was the subject that I absolutely hated with passion. So anything where I had to do math, I was just like not trying to hear it at all. So I kind of shied away from the whole career change or the career idea when I first heard about it. And then I had a really good friend of mine who heard about it pretty much the same time I did, and she didn't let that whole fear of not knowing stop her like me. And she ended up going into it like full-fledged. She ended up getting into it, and she absolutely loved it. And then a couple of years later, might have been a year or two later, I caught up to her again, and we ended up talking about it. And she was telling me, pretty much that I was like psyching myself out, that it wasn't as hard as it seemed, yada, yada, yada. So she pretty much amped me up to go ahead and take the test. And I did. I took the test. I did extremely well on the test. I aced the test, actually. And I ended up becoming an insurance adjuster. And so that's what I do. I always try to stick to careers that I feel like are very rewarding for me, because if it's not rewarding, then I'm not going to want to do it. And 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to keep it up. So yeah, that is what I do. I am trying to move away from that though, because just knowing what I know, as far as I feel like I know my purpose now. So me working in corporate America is very tiresome, like it's very cumbersome, and it's not something that I feel like I want to do any longer. Right now it's just a means to an end. And it's not that I'm not happy with my job, because I actually do like my job, and for the most part, I work with pretty decent people. But I do feel like once you know what your calling is, or what you feel like your calling is, it is very hard, or at least for me, it's very hard to shy away from what that is, Like every time I do shy away from it, something always happens to where it pulls me back. And that just kind of lets me know, like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And I would rather be doing something with purpose than to, be investing in somebody else's dream when I know I have dreams of my own. So I've always felt like for the longest that I don't really fit in as far as like corporate America. And it's not like I can't do the job that I'm being asked or being paid to do, but I've always felt like, that there was bigger, that there was bigger. And I feel like I'm just not ready to sell out to the man yet. Like I want to try and pursue my dreams, and I want to try and, put my best foot forward, and at least say I gave it, my all, or put some kind of effort into it before I just decide I'm going to, sell out and strictly work in corporate America. Like, I don't know. Um, I don't think there's anything wrong with working in corporate America. I feel like some people are actually meant to work in corporate America. Like, that's it for them. That's the dream. That's the goal. And I think that's fine. But I also feel like for people who know that that's not their thing, I don't see any reason in wasting time trying to, or not trying to, but I don't see any reason in continuously putting in time in someone else's dream while yours kind of sits on the back burner, if that makes sense. Because it's like a lot of times when you're working in corporate America, you are furthering someone else's dream. And working 40 hours a week, that leaves very little time for you to invest in your own dreams. So I just don't know if I'm at that stage where I want to say, you know what, my dreams, I don't see my dreams coming to fruition. I would just much rather work for someone else and make the money. Because for me, I feel like in corporate America, you're only getting peanuts. You know what I mean? Like, these companies are making millions, if not billions of dollars, and you're literally being paid in peanuts. It's not your business. You're not growing. You're definitely funding someone else's dream. So, and you're not even getting like a piece of the pie, if that makes sense. Like, you're getting like, I don't know, crumbs from the pie. So yeah, for me, it's like, I would much rather I could be more okay with working in corporate America if I knew that I have already given my all to my dreams and they have just like not come to pass. Yeah, Bentley. I've been calling the new dog. So we have a new dog. Bentley passed away last year, and we were like not really knowing like if we want to get another dog right away. Well, we ended up getting another dog, and the new dog's name is Rocky, but he looks just like Bentley, like a spitting image of Bentley. And that's probably who y'all hear right now in the background, because he didn't want to go outside to poop, so he's in timeout in his cage. And he's probably not liking it. Anyway. So let's see. I've lived in Dallas my whole life. I have my 3 children are with the person that I told you guys I was in a domestic relationship with. So I say domestic relationship, but the abusive relationship, all of my kids are by him. So I only have one baby daddy. Don't come for me. Outside of that, I, of course, enjoy makeup. I love it. It's just like my happy place, my little place of peace. I do love writing. I have been holding on to this book for like forever. I know y'all know that because I've been telling y'all I'm gonna get it out, and I am. My only thing is that I've just been having like second thoughts about publishing the book, and not because there's things in there that I'm not okay with talking about, but simply because I'm realizing that my words, anyone's words, they affect people, and a lot of people aren't ready to deal with their truth or even your version of what the truth is. And I think for me, what I would like for people to understand is that whatever your part was in someone's life, that was your part. Whether it was you behaving poorly or you behaving in an honorable manner, that was your part. And I think you have to take responsibility for what your part was. And I know for a fact that some of the things that I speak about in the book, certain individuals have not come to grips or have not come to terms with the part that they played in that situation, in the situation that I was in. And for me, it's strictly therapy. Like there's no kind of malice or anything behind it. It's strictly therapy. But I also know that some people don't want to heal. Like some people are truly broken and they want to stay broken because that brokenness gives them more attention than the being healed. So it's really hard to try and I guess draw a line between your health, like your mental health, and then somebody else's mental health, because they might not be in a place that you're in. So that does get a little bit hard. It gets a little tough. But I've also come to terms with that. I know that the information that's in the book is potentially going to help someone else. So I look at, if I'm burning any bridges on the back end, what that will cost me moving forward, if that makes sense. Because some bridges I think are better left burned. Not every bridge is meant to be repaired or worked on or walked on again. Sometimes you just have to let things be where they are and, be with who they are, if that makes sense. And I think that's kind of where I'm at with the whole book right now. I know it's not gonna, some people aren't gonna like what I have to say, but at this point, I feel like it's my truth. And I'm gonna stand firm on what my truth is. And if you have to come to terms with your truth later on, then that is definitely on you. But for me, it needs my voice is going to be heard. Like, I didn't leave that situation to still be silent or to still be afraid of what backlash may come. So I'm going to try and get the book to you guys as soon as I can. I want to make sure that it comes out in a way that I'm okay with, in a way that I'm pleased with. I want to make sure that I give it the due diligence that I feel like it's due, because for me, it's a rendition of my life story. For me, it's me opening up about one of the most painfulest times in my life. And I want to make sure that I'm in a place to where I'm healthy mentally, emotionally when this comes out, so that I can be okay, so that my children can be okay. So, we just have that peace, and that there's no questions that need to be asked, or questions that haven't been answered. So I did already prime my face, and right now I'm going in with the Black Opals Mineral Matte Cream Powder Foundation, and I believe this is in the shade Truly Topaz. So I always have to think about that anytime I'm putting material out, because I do share kids with this person, and because they do still have a functioning relationship with their father. I always have to make sure I'm not opening doors that he hasn't even touched to open with them yet, because with this situation, I've always kind of explained to my kids that in the event that they want to know something, like, I never talk about their dad in a bad way or a ill fashion. I always let them know that if they want to know something as far as that relationship pertains, that I feel like it's on him to tell them, because our stories could be completely different. Maybe he saw it a different way. Maybe he doesn't feel like what he did was toxic, and maybe I was the problem. But in any event, I never want to tell his side because it's not my side to tell. So I never speak for him as far as it goes to the relationship that he and I had. Whether it be right or wrong, and whether he tells them the complete truth or not, I feel like he knows what happened, I know what happened, and eventually our kids will grow to know what happened. You can't fake public record. That's one thing I can say. So I try to be as honest with them as I can without, tarnishing his name or anything like that. I'm actually gonna take some corrector. I just forgot. And I'm gonna put a little bit on these spots here, cause I was messing with my face, y'all. So I have a little black spot that I need to cover. Yeah, but like I said, so in any event, I just don't want to speak for him. I think part of being a man is knowing when you wrong somebody and actually speaking up about your part in the situation. I'm not going to be one of those parents that points the finger and, oh, you need to tell them you did X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. Because like I said, I know that it's a healing process. And sometimes when you know you've been in the wrong, you don't want to deal with that. You don't want to, nobody wants to paint themselves in a bad light, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm just using my stippling foundation brush. So I'm going to push this in just to make it a little bit more even on my skin. So that is a little bit, I guess, about me. Let's see what other questions. So do you know? So no, me and Brandon do not have kids together. We talked about having kids together at one point in time, but honestly, you guys, I feel like I'm done. The kids that I have, I feel like are amazing kids, and I don't want to have more kids at this point. I have the best of both worlds. I have 2 sons, I have a daughter. I don't feel like I'm missing anything. I don't feel like my life is incomplete because we don't share a child together. I don't have any of those feelings, so I don't know that I feel like I need, or there's a want for another kid. So, he has enough for the both of us, and I know that I definitely have enough for the both of us. So I'm cool with what we have. At some point, I do want us to be able to just kind of enjoy being married. So there's no rush for me. I don't want more kids. We have a puppy together, and that is more than enough. So somebody asked me, why did I stay in the relationship so long? Why did I stay in a relationship so long? Just to be honest with you, I can't tell you why. Like, I think even I made up, I don't know what's going on with my voice, y'all. I think even I made up excuses to stay, which is crazy. But I started dating him when I was 15, which was really young. He was either 18 or 19 at the time. My mom did not like it. She actually hated him. She was like not feeling the relationship at all. So Yeah, I started dating him when I was 15. I hadn't really dated a lot of guys prior to him. He was like my second real boyfriend. So I hadn't really dated a lot of guys prior to him, and I honestly did feel like, he after apologizing, I guess when you're not like in an abusive relationship or whatever, and someone tells you they hit you and they tell you, "Oh, I'm sorry," you actually think, okay, this person is sorry. They said they're not going to do it again, and you want to believe them, you know? Like you want to trust that this is what they mean. They're not going to do this again. They said they're sorry, blah, blah, blah. I think after I had my first kid, so after I had our son, I really wanted it to work for the simple fact that I didn't have my father growing up. It was just my mom and my brothers and sisters. And I always said, like, as I was growing up, is that, like, if I had kids, one, I always said that I was only going to have kids with one person. That actually worked out. But two, I always said that if I had kids, that I was going to always try to make sure that they had their father. That's because I didn't have mine and I knew how that felt. So I always said that, yeah, when I have kids, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure, that it works with, at the time when I was younger, I was like, oh, my husband. But yeah, I just wanted to like make it work. And it's like the more kids we had, the more time passed. I still had like that desire to make it work. But then I also started to realize, just through different experiences in that relationship, that he does not care for me. He does not value me as a person. And it just became like increasingly apparent with each argument that we got into, with his actions. And so I just was like, nah, this is not what I really signed up for. Like, I don't want to do this. So, to answer your question, I stayed trying to give my kids something that I didn't have, something that I thought they desperately needed. I know better now because I'm much older, and I realize that it's better to have one healthy parent, or to at least be single, than to have your kids in a really toxic environment. So that is why I stayed. That whole I love you, I'm not gonna do it anymore. All of that plays a part when you are in a relationship with somebody, especially when you have kids and you really don't know any better. Like, as a child growing up, I was always taught that if somebody did something to you and they apologized for it, then the idea was that they weren't going to do it again. They weren't going to cause you that same hurt. That's what my mom taught me, It's not that her teaching was wrong, but that's just what she taught me. If somebody cares for you and they hurt you and they apologize for it, then 9 times out of 10, it's not going to happen again. So that's kind of the rule I was going by. And it took me a while. Like, it took me breaking up, leaving, going to be with other people, to get those different experiences to realize, like, he really does not care about me. And even if he did care about me, he does not know how to be a man. Like, this is not how you behave. And we did the whole break up to make up a thing. A number of times. I can't tell y'all how many times we did. It was just a countless number of times we did the whole back and forth. So that was that. And then it just finally got to a point to where you get tired. Like, you realize when somebody is serving you lie after lie after lie. And you get tired of it and you do something about it. You know, especially when you're continuously having children, nothing's changing. You change it yourself. Like, you start making the difference. You know, you start calling the shots. You start, there's something in you that just awakens. You know, and it's like, I can't do this anymore. I can't take it anymore. And you start moving different. Even if the other person isn't, you do, you know? And it kind of got to that point for me. And I think for him, he didn't realize it because we had done the back and forth so much that he was just kind of used to me. Oh, I'm going to leave. You know, and I'd be gone for months at a time or whatever, and then we get back together. So, I had to get to a point to where it's like, okay, leaving now and not coming back. Let's see, someone said, what are my plans? That's kind of a wide range. My plans now are to just try and conquer this whole YouTube thing. I definitely like to do that because it allows me to do what I actually love to do. So I definitely like to accomplish some things via YouTube. And that looks like that's about it for our little tag, y'all. It wasn't much. But I appreciate everybody that sent me questions and all that kind of good stuff. I know for the most part I've talked about some of this stuff on Facebook in my earlier times when I was going live like consistently. But Facebook is becoming so strict that it's hard for me to authentically be myself, which is why I am gravitating more towards the YouTube side of things. YouTube just gives me more of the freedom, I should say, to actually be who I want to be, like to actually be myself. And I don't really have those freedoms on Facebook just because they're getting like super, super strict with everything. So that is one of the reasons why I'm definitely going to be trying to consistently upload more content for you guys. So if there's anything that you would like to see me do, or maybe something that I didn't talk about or something I didn't cover, definitely let me know. And I'd be more than happy to kind of dive into those topics with you guys. If it sounds loud, y'all, I'm so sorry about that. My ceiling fan was on and I didn't realize it until just now when it got a little quiet. For me, it's always on, so the noise is almost like a norm. Okay. All right. I'm liking it far, guys, so far. All right, y'all. Well, that's it for the tutorial and the little get to know me. I hope y'all enjoyed it. It's a little bit of information, some personal, but I don't really mind. So anyway, I hope you guys liked it. I hope it was informative, and I look forward to seeing y'all in in the next video. Until next time, you guys, I love you. Choose life, stay beautiful, and I'm out.